Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about generational curses. You know what that is? It's felt like that to me. My family on my father's side is the blood family. They go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years as criminals. Every one of them. Every single man on that side of the family, my dad, my grandfather, going back hundreds of years, have been a dirty, rotten piece of crap. I have an ancestor who tried to steal the royal crown jewels, hatched a plot to break into the Tower of London or wherever they keep those fucking things, and then steal the royal crown jewels. Failed plot. He tried to kidnap, or I guess he did kidnap, the Duke of Ormond, some duke in England, and hold him for ransom. Ended up getting exiled from England. He became a pirate, Captain Blood. I ended up the same way. I've always had a criminal mind. I don't know why. I've always felt like a devious person. Malicious, sinister kind of person. When I was 10 years old, maybe even a little younger, I joined a gang in the projects that I lived in, a street gang, little baby gang, little kids. And we commit robberies, real robberies. Every single building that we lived in the projects, had a storage room in the basement. There was like a laundry room, a trash room, and a storage room in the basement of every single building. The storage room was a long corridor with little storage units made out of chicken wire and wood, but they had doors and padlocks and whatever, but you could see into them. And we would break into those storage units and steal shit, trade it. We had our own little underground Lord of the Flies kind of fucking world of kids all throughout that projects. I didn't steal because I needed stuff. We were broke. I was born homeless. Living in the projects was rich to me. I mean, that was, you know, that was having money to me. I didn't know anything else. But my mom had put food on the table, so I wasn't starving. I wasn't stealing for food. I was stealing because I liked it. I found myself doing all kinds of stuff like that as I got older, because I liked it. I just kind of figured, well, you know, hey, apples don't fall far from the tree. My dad was the same way. I ended up just like him. He ended up just like the man before him. This is the generational curse of the blood family. Why does this happen? Is it genetic? Do we have some kind of evil gene in our DNA that just makes us this way? It's a bunch of different conditions. Usually a failure of the family and a failure of fatherhood. And when you have a generational curse, it's usually a failure of fatherhood. Like father, like son. I ended up with anger issues. Ended up with all kinds of issues. Very similar to my father. Some of it genetic. I had dyslexia. That's genetic. But the anger issues, you could argue, you know, a psychiatrist might say there is genetic tendencies. If your father had severe anger issues, then you could have a genetic tendency to have that too. But there were just conditions with my father not being around. His father was also not around. It was, there gets to be a generational curse of failure in parenting, failure in nurturing, failure in family. And that can really be devastating. I would argue that that has been the problem with my family for the last 400 years. It's simply just a failure of the men. Why are the Bloods so weak? Why did Captain Blood get exiled from England? Not because he was a poor robber. I would have got them crown jewels. It's because he was a broken man from a broken home, raised by a weak father. That was the path that he chose. You know, there's a line in a Bob Marley song that I like. It goes, "There was good and evil, I chose good." I mean, that's a powerful statement. Because we're all at the crossroads every single day. You have a choice to be good or to be bad. Be a good person or a bad person, whatever that means to you. How do you break a generational curse? Yours doesn't have to be from a criminal family. Yours could be alcoholic. I have every man in my family, we're alcoholics. That's a generational curse. Every man in my family, we're abusive. I mean, we have multiple generational curses, but you know, you can look at yourself and find where you're falling into this trap. And you can break free from it. You can end the curse. You can be the last one in your family, the last man in your family to be affected by this curse. That's what I told myself. I'm the last blood. And I am. I'm the last one. There's no more bloods after me in my line, my family line, that's related to Captain Blood and the pirate and all that. I'm the last one. And I'm gonna end the curse. The curse dies with me. Now, the way that you break a generational curse is through a couple different aspects. You have to go within, you have to start cultivating a sense of innocence. You have to reclaim that tenderness of heart that you had from a child, but just because you're an adult and you're wiser now and you've seen the horrors of the world, you may have been to war and seen the worst things, you can still reclaim that tenderness of heart and that innocence. You don't have to be jaded and fucked up over your experiences or over trauma, over the obstacles that you've run into along the path of life. You can reclaim that innocence, and some of that is to take personal responsibility and to get out of the victim mindset. Some of it is to actually go and do things that kids do. Go and, stare at a sunset, stare at the clouds, and imagine that they're dinosaurs and robots. Get into your imagination. Allow your creativity to just explode. Find that inner child. Get excited again over pizza night, or watch some Saturday morning cartoons on the sofa with your blanket and their bowl of cereal. Find a way to reclaim some of that innocence, and you'll notice that it infects you in ways where you become less hardened. The weathering of the world that made you so cold, you get warmed up a little bit. And that's important, because you have to get to a place of forgiveness with your past. In order to break a generational curse, you need to be able to forgive. Forgiveness is one of the toughest things that I talk about with people, and nobody likes it. Nobody's like, "Oh yeah, tell me all about it." As soon as you talk about forgiveness, people shut down. Fuck no. I can't forgive. I could do this mind, body, and soul shit you talk about, but forgiveness? Whoa, wait a minute. Nobody said I had to forgive anybody. You have to be able to forgive your enemies. You have to be able to forgive yourself. Stop holding a grudge against yourself. Stop beating yourself up, being angry with yourself for your choices. You have to do this in order to reclaim your power. When you go through a process of forgiveness, you reclaim a power that has been lost because you've been detached from who you really are, from that energy that exists out in the world. You become so rigid. That's what negativity does to you. It tightens you up. That's why it's good to have massages. It's good to loosen up, get that negative energy out of you. You want to be able to overcome your anger, overcome your revenge, overcome that need to see your enemies suffer. Get to a place to where once you've forgiven people, you no longer want to see people punished that hurt you. That person that caused you that trauma, your ex-wife or whoever, your bully, whoever it was, you don't need them to be punished. You've forgiven them, it's over. Water under the bridge. We'll get past it. You want to get rid of your sadness, your guilt, your shame. You do this by working on yourself. And when you've gotten to a point when you can tackle some of those weaknesses and strengthen those areas, you will break that generational curse. You won't raise your sons the way that your father raised you. You won't pass on that negativity that was passed on to you. It's all food for thought. Thanks for watching.